Hey everybody, it's Commander Clyde. Welcome back to another Smite update notes discussion and review. Gonna be looking at the Darkness Falls update, which is the latest update that should be out next week for Smite. First here is the skins, liking the Cabrakan thing, kind of like some Mad Max inspired thing. This is a cool one. So it's like, werewolf type of thing. I think that's pretty cool with Cuchulainn using a mechanic with his berserk form to actually do something cool with a skin. This is interesting. I think this is the first time we've had a skin like this.
I choose who I bring to Valhalla. Nobody else. If anyone has a problem with that, they can leave.
Hope that wasn't loud. They went lore. This is kind of a Norse lore type of skin. They went with the Valkyrie thing because, wings, ta-da. And of course, all Valkyries are female. So we went with that. I think this is our first gender swap skin. I don't think there's been a skin like that before, so that's interesting. Design choice, but I think it works really well here. That's cool. There's already been a skin like this, so whatever. This one's interesting. Voice pack's pretty good. Neath doesn't need another skin. I'm not even going to talk about that. And then, these are cool, I suppose. Already getting another Pele skin. Nox has a lot of skins too, but I like the concept with this one. Anyway, moving on. Update release schedule, first week of April. Council of the Gods, what is that? Maybe they'll say something down here. A bunch of new cosmetic items, blah blah blah. I'm not going to read through all of that. Jump stamps for each team, ward skins for Pittsburgh, Knights, Renegades, Dignitas. Snuggle Party pedestal, Valkyrie's range loading frame. New items added to the mixer store. There you go. Thanks. Bug fixes. There's always lots of these. Hope we're ready. Fixed an issue where some players in match lobby would appear to... I'm not going to highlight all this. This is going to take forever if I do it that way. Anyway, fixed an issue where some players in match lobby would appear to be in an order that didn't match their pick order. Fixed end of match lobby. Scorecard always highlighting the far right teammate. Fixed favorite global emote selections not consistently saving. Fixed an issue where deserter penalties were where the old values were still applying. Fixed draft pick match lobbies. Pick order not matching display order. What? Fixed auto ban gods in match lobby not having red slash on icon. Fixed Merlin auto skill turning off when using ultimate as he levels up. I've seen that. Wait, no. I haven't seen that. I've seen someone get stuck in one stance and not be able to ult. I think that's actually what that bug happens. If you use your ult while you're leveling up, you could do it before you've actually ranked it up, and then it just gets locked or something. But that's a different bug, actually, to this, I think. Fixed Jormungandr's sometimes unable to refire submerged. Fixed an issue where Jormungandr's 3 refire would sometimes be blocked by the pulses he sends out while stealthed. Fixed an issue where Nox could exit early while Jormungandr was in his ultimate. Fixed an issue where King Arthur could still move while rooted when using basic attacks. Fixed an issue where Ratatasker could use meditation and beads during the start of ultimate. Fixed tooltip issue where Ganesh ultimate stating higher mana cost for levels 3, 4, and 5. Fixed Kuzumbo continuing to deal damage with Sumo Slam after the target has used beads. Fixed an issue where Janus could use ultimate to teleport outside of the Joust map. Why would you do that? But that's a funny bug. Come on. Fixed an issue where King Arthur could no longer build meter towards ultimate. Console bugs. Fixed an issue where parental controls didn't properly mute channel consoles. Fixed an issue where parental controls didn't. Fixed player names not showing on ranked leaderboard. Fixed an issue where saved item builder profile could not be edited unless deleting entire profile. Well, that's just stupid. Fixed stats sometimes not properly updating an item builder. Fixed profanity filter not working for chat text. Project Olympus. So they showed this stuff, and I'm like, it wasn't Project Olympus about improving the quality of the game, not like doing anything with that. I don't know. There's still a bunch of things they could do, they should still do with this, and they have not done so, like updating the netcode for the game so you don't get horrendously high ping for no reason. You still haven't tried to revamp any of that stuff, so anyway, new player experience. Woohoo. Players will now receive rewards for completing co-op matches, although at a reduced rate from normal matches. XP 100, favor 30%, BP 10%, worshippers 100%, up to rank 4, then 0%. Oh, that's interesting. You get 0. You don't get any worshippers after rank 4 in co-op. Fun. Console players will now be able to use a new set of VGS inputs for communication with other players in game. Entering the VGS command will bring up the console's virtual keyboard so players can type custom messages. The button combination is the same location for all platforms, mapped to the respective buttons in these spots. X, right bumper, Xbox, PS4, square, R1, Switch, Y, and R. UI updates. Daily rewards no longer reset when the player misses a day. Daily rewards must now be claimed by the player in the store under feature page instead of auto-claiming. That's nice. So you don't have to log in. It won't reset if you didn't log in that day, but you'll still have to claim that reward and wait the next day to get the next daily reward. Client-side store has been updated to the new art style. This refers to where you buy skins and gods, not the in-game item shop where players buy things like boots and belts. Yes. Store and shop are not the same thing. PC players can now call rolls through the UI in other game modes besides Conquest. Your high-res support ID is displayed in your profile now. This is a unique number to your high-res account that should be used when filing support tickets or reporting bugs. It helps us find your account easier in a cross-play world. Other players cannot see your support ID. Mixer store. Been added to the store. Mixer. Players can link their Smite account to their Mixer account to earn Mixer points by watching official high-res streams. Players that earn a total of 600 Mixer points will unlock the Crusher Kabrakan skin. You do not need to spend points to earn the skin. There will be a rotating set of skins in the Mixer store that can be bought with Mixer points. You do spend points to earn these skins, but it will not decrease your total toward unlocking the Crusher Kabrakan. Oh boy. Ranked. Everybody's favorite part of Smite. Matchmaking rating MMR ELO returns. Players will now be able to see their ranked MMR when viewing their ranked stat page. Matchmaking rating will not be visible to others in the client unless they are Masters/Grandmasters players. MMR will now be visible through the API, allowing external sites to obtain players' MMR. Players can set their profile to hidden to prevent this. Duo queue for ranked returns. Players will be able to party with a friend and queue up in ranked conquest. We have adjusted the rules from the last time this was possible to ensure the matchmaker can make quality matches. Players in platinum and below. Players can queue with anyone within 200 MMR of their current MMR. Players in diamond and above. Players can queue with anyone within 50 of their current MMR. Updated rank progression. Qualification games were removed. Players will no longer need to play 10 qualifying games when first starting out at the start of each split. Players without a previous split ranking begin in Bronze 3, climbing up the ladder by playing and winning games. During soft resets, players will be reset between Bronze 3 and Gold 1, depending on their MMR at the end of each split. In the new system, rank will be a better measurement of progression than skill. Players should not look at MMR differences between players as a way of judging their match quality. It is possible that many people in different ranks could be paired together as an intended part of this system. So, I think the good thing about this is it removes the stupid pressure of feeling like you have to win all of your qualifying games. So that's gone. So you just get in there and you just play. Really simple, really easy. Now you can play what you want without feeling that pressure. And that also gives you a more accurate representation of what's going on at the beginning of the new seasons. So you're not just there in limbo with no rank and just in qualifiers. So I think that helps things make a little more sense, and it might improve the match quality in qualifier or when the season starts, hopefully. So, that's a good change. Updated TP gains and tier skipping increased the bonus for being a tier/division that is far away from your matchmaking rating. Adjusted the rules for tier skipping on promotion to be less aggressive. Updated rewards lower the amount of wins needed for the 50 gems reward, each split from 75 to 50. Role queue players will now provide a primary and a secondary role choice. Primary role will indicate the role you most want to play. The system will prioritize getting as many players as possible their primary role. Priority points only reset upon getting your primary role. Visualize priority players will now be able to see how many priority points they have. On the queue screen, players with the most priority points have the highest chance to receive their primary role. Ranked role queue, first pick will always receive their primary role. Second pick will always receive their primary role unless first pick had the same role selected. In this case, they would get their secondary role. Custom gains. New pause option has been added. Free pause. Players can now pause the game at any time, even during combat. This pause will allow for the match to be affected the minimum amount by a player who needs to pause. This feature is intended for scrim-style games where all 10 players have agreed on the rules and will use the pause only in case of emergencies. New Assault map. Ragnarok has come and gone, transforming Asgard in the process. The Assault map has entirely new art and set. Has entirely new art set and some mechanical changes as well. The main goal for the Assault gameplay changes is to encourage more fighting. Some new areas and objectives have been added to the map to prevent stalemates and ensure the battle keeps raging. Which is always a problem with Assault, is people just decide not to fight and camp like cowards, and you hate the mode more than any other thing created. Match lobby. Decreased cost to reroll your god from 50 gems to 25. And from 250 favor to 125. Titans updated to the Season 5 Conquest models. Phoenix is updated to the Season 5 models. Updated Assault Towers with new artwork. Decreased physical power by 15. Encouraging you to dive and fight. Again. Minions, updated order minions to the season. Whatever. Increased health and protections to match Conquest minion stats. Vital Orbs added a new type of objective around the Assault map called Vital Orbs. The map will start with 2 of these that spawn in the center of the map, and a new one will spawn in the corner of the map after each tower is destroyed. Players only need to walk into these to collect them. Orbs respawn 60 seconds after being collected. Vital Orbs provide 15% increased movement speed for the player who picked up the orb for 10 seconds. 15% instant health and mana heal for the player and allies within 60 units. A 1% health and mana regen per second aura for 10 seconds around the player. This affects all allies within 60 units. So this gives you something to do on the map and encourages you to actually fight your opponent. Which again, main problem with Assault is a lot of people like to just not fight. So hopefully this will kill some of that. Dude. Okay. Conquest. The new Fury rotation adds more decision-making to Conquest objectives and requires players to push their advantages in different ways. This concept was added and has added an interesting twist to the new season, but one of the Furies felt lackluster, and that held the design back. Primal Fury's reward is being increased to make the advantage gained from it more applicable, especially to the more difficult Season 6 Fire Giant. Increase the damage dealt to jungle camps from 5 to 7% on the buff gained from killing the Primal Fury. Spirit Minions. What is that? Conquest has seen major updates to many roles since the rework launch at the beginning of Season 5. Junglers were put back in control of their jungles, mid laners have more freedom to roam and fight, and solo laners have a new objective. As those other improvements have taken hold, it has been What is English? It has become increasingly clear that Duel Lane feels slightly behind the other roles and could use some adjustment. In this update, a new minion will be added to the first wave in Duel Lane only. It is designed to impact the fighting as little as possible, but to provide just enough XP to allow 2 players to hit level 2 after the second wave instead of remaining level 1.99999 as they did before. This should give Duel Lane a jump start, allowing them to fight back against junglers to make more meaningful plays in the early game, which sets the stage for their mid to late game. One Spirit Minion will spawn as part of the first wave only in Duel Lane on each side of the map. Spirit Minion stats 34 kill XP, 50 HP, 5 power. That seems really arbitrary to just have it spawn on the first wave, though. Anyway, while Duel Lane was being discussed, the topic of invades came up frequently. One of the primary reasons a Duel Lane will fall excessively behind is when their red or purple camp is taken by the enemy team. We want invades to still be meaningful. They are risky and require skill to pull off, but the amount of advantage being gained from this was overwhelming. Invading players will now gain slightly smaller rewards when stealing camps from enemy territory. This should reduce the amount of snowball in lanes. They can do that? Killing jungle camps on the opposite of the map now provides less gold and XP. The amount is decreased by 33% at 0 minutes match time, decreases linearly over time, becomes 0% decrease at 15 minutes. Interesting. I mean, I like that because it slows things down. It doesn't mean you're going to get completely shut down because you haven't gotten any farm because your opponent's not crazy far ahead. It gives you a chance, and I do like competitive things being added to make games feel more competitive. But that could backfire in ways of dragging games out longer than they need to. But we'll see. That's not really that big of a change. Visual feedback on objective kills. Audio feedback was applied to Conquest map objectives last season and has been quite positively received. Throughout Season 6, we will be looking to improve the game in more quality of life ways, which often means more clear and direct feedback. This feature will augment the current audio feedback to make sure the information being conveyed is clear and encourages the proper counterplay. The accolade for killing the Gold Fury will now display text specifying if it was the Gold Fury, Primal Fury, Oni Fury, or Oni Fury high-res grammar. When a Fury is killed, it will now display to enemies as well with different text and art, and will specify which type of Fury it was. When Pyromancer is killed, it will now display to enemies as well. When Fire Giant is killed, it now displays to enemies. Items. In this patch, we took a look at Hunter Bridge items. These items existed to provide a trade-off between boosting early game power at the cost of late game efficiency. In most cases, however, these items were either dominant due to early advantage or unused. Aussie and Iqbal have been reworked to full tier 3 items, giving players, hunters most of all, access to more full-fledged items. Builds from the Bounce Blade, 25-50 gold, 20 power, 20% lifesteal, 25% attack speed, 15 pin. Let's just stat load this like crazy, and the same passive. If you drop a flow 35%, you get an additional 30% physical lifesteal for 5 seconds. It only can occur once every 15 seconds. Pretty strong, but the power is low, so that keeps it from being too insane. But I think that's more pen than it had before when it was just attack speed, pen, lifesteal. Interesting. Iqbal received a small identity shift with its rework towards a tier 3. This item has always focused on improving boxing capabilities, and keeping this identity was a goal moving forward. Rather than reducing power or damage dealt, which can be dangerous when stacked with other items, we are focusing its direction to be anti-attack speed. And an offensive addition to the pool of attack speed reduction effect seems like a healthy fit that won't stack with other effects in a negative way. I get stuck reading their crap sometimes because they seem to have trouble with using the correct grammar. Builds from Hunter's Bow, 2450 gold, 30 physical power, 30% attack speed. Passive, every successful basic attack increases your physical power by 15 and reduces enemy attack speed by 10%. Max 3 stacks. So the pen has been taken off in favor of just power and attack speed, and you get 15 power for the stack. So if you stack all that, that's 75 power while it's active. So this is straight just a boxing item. If you hit your autos, then, you know, you're better off against your opponent. And this, in some cases, could be a good item to build. I don't know if I really like it, though, being with a tier 3 like this, and then the 30 power and attack speed, because you got to hit your autos. I don't know how this is going to work out without Pen. We'll just have to see. Ao Kuang has seen a large rise in play count with his passive rework. The high base damage of his abilities like Dragon's Call combined with a more reliable way of restoring health has allowed him to really get into a fight and trade positively. We are reducing his top end base damage when he is allowed to get multiple hits of Dragon's Call out. This should curb his early boxing potential and jungle clear speed. Decrease attack damage 35 up to 95, down to 30 up to 90. So that's a reduction at 5 of 5 at every rank. Bacchus has been belching his way up the ranks, being a very potent threat in the early game. He currently brings high clear speed, high kill potential, and is hard to box in the early. These issues all arose when we added the rank 0 to his chug. That change helped Bacchus' unique mechanic contribute more to the fun of Bacchus it's just more fun to Bacchus, but now he needs adjustments to offset his high strength. Come on, guys. The amount of damage mitigation provided from the Drunkometer and the base damage of Belch of the Gods are coming down, giving opponents better opportunities to fight back against Bacchus. Decreased damage mitigation from Drunkometer from 7 to 5% while tipsy, and from 14 to 10% while smashed. That's a big nerf. Decreased base damage of Belch of the Gods from 25 to 85, down to 20 to 80 per tick, a reduction of 5 power again. Bakasura can be difficult to shut down when he gets going, especially during his regurgitate. The duration he can chomp through his opponents, as well as the duration of his CC immunity, allows him to really pressure opponents with a large window. We are reducing these durations to allow coordinate teams more opportunity to counter his hypercarry abilities. Regurgitate description now shows deployable duration. Decrease duration of cone autos from 6 to 5 seconds. Decrease CC immunity duration from 1.5 to 1 second. And then jump to Fenrir has always been in a strange spot. As an assassin, his jungle was often on the fringes of being useful, and he instead found himself as an aggressive support. He's seeing a shift to date. What are you talking about? Reducing his early game control and base damage while receiving an increase to his jungle clear and giving him more reasons to build power. Unchained was a high base damage low cooldown ability that enabled the support Fenrir play. These aspects on both are being reduced. On the opposite side. Brutalize will now always cleave, but at a slightly reduced strength. Runes will now cause Brutalize to scale more physical power. Players will now have a more clear use case between empowering Unchained for control and Brutalize for more damage, while having access to reliable and strong jungle clear without needing to use runes. I feel like they could have just made this nerf and then left everything else how it was, because the problem I always thought with Fenrir was that Brutalize was really good for clear and did a lot of damage. Which actually, the damage of Brutalize, I think, is a bigger issue with Fenrir than Unchained. Just because this ability does a ridiculous amount of damage early. And now it just deals more damage. They reduce the cleave damage, but it just straight up does more damage, which makes him better in the early, and now he's just, man, that's too much power. Anyway, decrease base damage from 95 to 335 to 75 to 315. Decrease amount of cooldown, decrease unsuccessful hit from 50 to 30%. Have to roughly 1/3. This ability will now always cleave. Reduce cleave damage from 75 of total to 50%. At max runes, this ability will deal an additional 15% of your physical power per hit on top of the high base it already has, because that makes sense. So expect more invades on Fenrir, because he's just going to come and kill you instead of taking your jungle. That's the thing, he's just going to kill you. It doesn't make him support. Now he does more damage with this. He just kills me. Anyway, Bakasura. I think they've misunderstood what makes Bakasura strong, and that is his ridiculous ability to clear, and the fact he can invade whenever he wants, because Butcher Blades gives him free power, and then he just eats the minion. Granted, at level 1, you're not going to have Butcher Blades, but level 3, you're going to probably have it at rank 2. And so you just get a bunch of free damage, and then you eat the minion. You can't stop him from invading you, and they need to tone down one of those two things, either his eat or his Butcher Blades. And that would slow him down a lot, because he wouldn't have such a ridiculous early game. But, of course, these things do help a little bit too late, but these aren't as helpful in the early, when he's already going to be outfarming you. Moving on to Freya. Freya has undergone some heavy reworks over the last year. Our initial goal was to make Freya's damage more reliable and less bursty. Through these iterations, we feel we have her in a spot where she is true to her original design and goals, while solving some of her core issues and clunkiness. From now on, we can look at her overall balance state and make specific number adjustments akin to our normal balance. Previously, her overall clear and damage output was too high and too reliable. We are lowering her damage output and control on Northern Lights, while Warblade scaling is being tuned down. This should help balance her early game and late game strengths. Decrease base damage from 11 to 75 to 10 to 60. Ow! Decrease slow from 25% to 15%. Decrease minion explosive damage from 50% to 25%. Aurora Blade decreased range damage magical power scaling from 15% to 10% per hit. So now she's just useless! Yay! Okay, not useless, but this is kind of a big nerf. And there are already situations where she's bad in. She's bad against gods that can, well, burst her faster. Like on her and Rom, and Kurnanos, and Hachiman, and Uller. There's a lot of hunters that just do more damage, that can do more DPS than her. And this just makes it more difficult for her to box, I'm afraid. Which is not great for her, and it also keeps her from being able to fight tanks really well, which she already struggles a bit to do. And now this gets worse because they're not slowed as much, so a tank can keep on chasing her. It won't take as much damage from this, so they don't get shredded as fast. And then she's just dead because she's been CC'd. I'm not really going to read this because it's a big thing. This ability can now re-hit minions, but still only hits gods once. Which makes it useful when you don't have at least 4 minions in front of you, which is a nice thing to have. This can help us clear on like mid camps and things like that quite a bit. In fact, he can rebound jungle monsters because he can, which means he can press 2 to kill the minis and then throw the monkey at the big minion and it'll hit 4 times, which should help him actually clear faster. That's cool. I like that. Jormungandr, the world's serpent, arrived with players having been trying him in multiple roles, and in each he has struggled to really make his mark. Because you made his kit super weird, we want to bring up his overall strength and give his ultimate more opportunities to shine. We are increasing his base physical protection, giving him more opportunity to box in the early game. We are making his ultimate a flat 100 seconds at all ranks. The lower cooldown will help your Jormungandr engage and rotate much more effectively. Physical protection from 18 to 21, decreased cooldown from 120 to 100 seconds. To 100 seconds at all ranks. The main problem they did was his kit design. His 1, the damage is kind of eh. It's with controllability, that's fine. The 2 has good damage, but it's slow and takes a long time to fire. His 3 is weird, so it really doesn't do that much damage early. The stealth is cool, I guess, but his problem is once he goes on somebody, if he doesn't kill them immediately by going 3, 1, 2 or whatever he does, which that's the best combo probably, he doesn't do a whole lot after that. His stats are not at the point where he can kill a target in the way they've designed him, because he's been designed like an assassin, but he's a huge freaking snake. that's listed as a guardian doesn't have guardian numbers. Quite. I mean, it's not like, Ymir out here, whereas 2 does 370 damage at max rank, and his ult is, well, 1100. Hello. It's like, he doesn't have damage like that, so it's like, how am I supposed to use this god in the way that he's intended to be used based on his design of being the God Slayer, or the World Eater? He eats gods, whatever. How am I supposed to use him that way when Ymir does it better already without that intent in his design? How are you supposed to use him? Like, the thing they should probably do is make him less tanky, make him a little bit faster, and give him more power. And just say he's an assassin or something. Or make him a mage like Alquang, but he's assassin oriented. I don't know. But the problems he has are with the intent of the god not working with his kit in the right way. He's a world serpent, he kills other gods, and he does that job kind of poorly and slowly. And that's the main problem. King Arthur. Since King Arthur's release, we've watched his performance closely. Due to his difficult nature and the high skill ceiling he has, how we measured this win rate is important. When we buffed him last round, we specifically held back with the understanding he may become too potent even with minor adjustments. The increased energy gain allowed him access to his ultimate. Quite often, players have clearly discovered better ways to optimize his impact on a match. In this patch, we are looking at to add some targeted adjustments that are exploited at the top, and while ensuring that players still learning Arthur have an enjoyable experience. Overhead slice allows for Arthur to bully opponents in lane and contributes to his already high clear speed. While late game this feels appropriate, the early game damage, especially melee range, was too high. Additionally, the Twin Cleave and Blade Storm are seeing a partial revert to their energy gain. We still worry that Arthur will lose a lot of his core feel if energy takes too long to build, but going from 1 to 2 energy provided him too much. Finally, Sundering Strike and Excalibur's Fury will now cost mana. Not only does this address some of his Spamalot playstyle early. Oh, wow. We got puns in the patch notes now. Players are accustomed to recognizing when a player is out of mana and using that as a cue to engage. Having a small mana cost keeps that feeling consistent across the game with King Arthur. To that end, overhead slash decreased melee bonus damage from 50% to scaling from 30 to 50% from rank 1 to rank 5. Twin Cleave decreased energy gain from 2 to 1.5 per hit. Sundering Strike, Excalibur's Fury, both abilities now cost 40 mana. So you can't use combo ult at 0 mana anymore. It's hilarious that works that way. Ooh, big Merlin things. Merlin was not to be outdone by King Arthur. Players have had a large amount of success with Merlin, utilizing his stance switching capabilities to cycle between poking out opponents or burning them down. We are making some targeted adjustments to some of his abilities, lowering damage or interactions that boosted damage above expectation. Additionally, Flicker is seeing an overall nerf, giving players more opportunity to punish an out-of-position Merlin. Anyway, Eclipse. Initial hit scaling reduced from 70 to 60%. Frostbolt, Gem of Isolation, slow applies after Frostbolt does damage and does not get the bonus damage unless the target is slow previously. Reduce bonus damage from 20 to 50%. The cooldown needs to be increased on this ability. That's not, I mean, yes, that's a good change and that should work that way, but it has a 4-second cooldown at max CDR. It might be lower, actually. I don't remember, but that's ridiculous, and they didn't change that. But fixed several issues that were causing this ability to do much more damage than intended. Blizzard Flicker increased cooldown from 22 to 18 seconds to 24 to 20 seconds. Yeah, have fun running in and burning people and trying to run away after, because you're probably out of position. And your Flicker's got a longer cooldown. That addresses another change of he runs in out of position, gets to punish you, gets to hit you with a bunch of damage, and then you don't get to punish him for it because he's gone already. I'm like, well, okay, I guess I have to back. Whatever. But one of the main things I think they needed was to reduce the cooldown of Frostbolt, and they didn't do that. I mean, increase the cooldown, and they didn't do that. So, also, his fire is a little too good at burning things because of he can melt a Titan with his fire stance in about 3 seconds, and it's like, well, okay. I mean, he can do that to any objective, and that's a little bit too strong, I think. His prot reduction or the overall scaling of it needs to be reduced or something. They didn't do that either. Nausea. Similar to Fenrir, Nausea support has become a potent threat and a staple to the dual lane. Why? People are weird. While we like gods flexing in different roles, Nausea's success has pushed others out of the role, restricting how many gods can be played as a support, but I see how he could be really strong in that role. I digress. Green Toxic's protection, Shred combined with Windfire Wheels, high base damage enables this playstyle more than any part of the kit, so we are toning down both of these aspects to make it more manageable to fight. We will be keeping a close eye on Nausea as an assassin going forward, but when built offensively, his scaling is high enough that we feel he will still be a strong pick after these adjustments. Windfire Wheels, added a note that enemies caught in this effect do not count as being CC'd. Decreased base damage per hit from 40 to 120 to 30 to 110, decreased initial and landing damage from 80 to 280 to 50 to 270. Universe Ring Toss. Decreased protection debuff from 15 to 10, scaling up to 14. Pele has been a consistently strong jungle pick since her release. She brings a strong early clear, high gank potential, and great scaling into the late game. In this patch, we are looking to adjust her early to mid-game gank potential, eruption, and her initial ultimate hit set her up to secure kills too easily. We are reducing the base damage of these abilities, allowing players a higher chance to survive and answer back to her engaging. Decreased inner damage on eruption from 80 to 260 down to 70 to 50. Volcanic Lightning, decreased additional damage from 200 to 520 down to 180 to 520, less potent early. Anyway, Ra's not tanky enough, give him more prots. Basically, that's it. Whatever. Decreased mana cost from 80 to 100 to 60 to 80 because he was being punished too heavily for a steroid that doesn't give him anything but attack speed. That's how I feel about that. Bomana has been running over his opponents, quite literally, and utilizing the added survivability while inside his ultimate. With this patch, we want to look at his core strength and make targeted adjustments to ensure he's fair to fight and keeping his ultimate feeling strong. We are lowering his movement speed, burst potential, and utility, but only in small amounts. These should give players more opportunity to outmaneuver, survive, and potentially escape, especially when played well. General decreased base movement speed from 380 to 375, so he's even with every other warrior now. It's probably where he should have been. Armored Umbrella decreased base damage from 85 to 305 down to 85 to 285. Umbrella Ring decreased attack / movement speed slow from 30% to 25%, which is a good nerf. Maybe you can run away from him, but if you get hit by this with both hits, it still sucks. Which, I mean, that's the main part of his kit. I think that's really the better ability than Armored Umbrella, because it's good for setup. And it technically does more damage. It's good for his clear, which they might have looked at that instead. But this also nerfs his, a roundabout way, nerfs his clear as well. So these are good nerfs. Gives you some opportunities, but not so many that he is back in a bad state. And with that, guys, that's going to do it for the past notes discussion and review today. I hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like down below if you did. Also, leave a comment if you want down below. Same place. You guys know where that is. As always, don't forget to check the helpful links down in the description below. And I'll see you guys later for some more Smite. Have a good one. Soon, my hotkey's not working again. Cool. Bye, guys.